So start by telling us, what's the significance of this meeting for Australia?
What is important is that we could see agreements signed between ASEAN and Australia on many areas, for example, on trade, clean energy, and maritime cooperations. So it signals Australia's recognition that its fate is tied to the region. And I was at the summit and spoke to several Southeast Asian officials there, and generally they are impressed with the efforts put in by Australia to engage the region in the summit.
Australia has announced some pretty hefty investments into the region during this meeting. Tell us what's motivating them to strengthen ties in this region?
When we look at geography, that is one key factor. Australia is geographically located close to the region. Its maritime domain is linked with the security of maritime Southeast Asia. 99% of Australia exports is transported by the sea, and about 78% of Australian petroleum needs are also exported or imported by the sea. So there is a need to ensure that Southeast Asia in general, especially in the maritime domain, is stable and secure. And significantly, ASEAN economy is now more than 2 times that of Australia. So just beyond these security issues, it makes sense for Australia to be engaged with ASEAN so that it can attain economic benefits from Southeast Asian economic strength.
Obviously, there have been recent clashes between the coast guards of the Philippines and China in the South China Sea. What's your sense about how concerned the ASEAN countries are about this issue?
Even for ASEAN member states like Singapore, who does not have any claims in the South China Sea, the Singaporean government is concerned that the Chinese behavior will disrupt freedom of navigation. And for Singapore Defense Minister to state that, it signals some concerns because typically Singapore's government is quite careful about making statements regarding strategic situations in the region.
Do you expect them to address the South China Sea dispute publicly, such as in their joint statement at the end of the meeting?
I think some ASEAN member states are a bit cautious about that because Chinese investment, Chinese trade is critical for their economic survival. So I would foresee if there's a joint statement between Australia and ASEAN on the South China Sea, it will be a bit tempered, it will be a bit constrained. And similarly, with regards to the crisis in Myanmar, any ASEAN's Australia joint statement on that crisis will also be tempered with because ASEAN operates on consensus decision making and they have to take into considerations the opinions and policies of all its member states.
Is there anything else you're going to be watching for or found interesting about this meeting so far?
I think for now, we have seen at the bilateral level, I think Singapore Prime Minister has welcomed the Australia to deploy AUKUS submarines in the future to Singapore military bases. So that's something which is quite significant, and it's a very loud and clear statement that some ASEAN members have embraced AUKUS.